Hey everybody, this is a quick video on creating templates and Powerforms in Docusign. We're going to start here on the Docusign home screen. You'll want to make sure that you are in Docusign e-signature, not rooms. If you are not in e-signature and your home screen does not look like this, make sure to go up to the top here with your initials and switch to e-signature. So if you are in rooms, this will say switch to e-signature. If you are in e-signature, this will say switch to rooms. So you can easily switch back and forth between those two. So once you're here, you will go up to the top where it says templates. You will select new and then create. This is where you're going to upload the forms that you have for your onboarding paperwork. So there are multiple ways that you can upload the documents. For us at Gulfside, we had our documents in a Google Drive folder. So when we went to get from cloud, we just selected Google Drive. You can also select from Dropbox or OneDrive, or you can just upload directly from your computer like so. Here's where you can label your template, so it'll just be template test. You can add a description if you'd like. You can upload your documents here. So just for the sake of this example, we're just going to upload some of our checklists here. We'll just do those 4. Once you upload these here, you can actually change the order of them if you need to. You can just drag and drop them however you would like them to be up here. Then you would scroll down, and for the role, you're going to put agent first, and this is going to be the agent that's onboarding. You do not have to do a name or an email assigned to the role. You just need a role here. This will come up later when I show you the Powerforms. Additionally, our MCA has a role in entering some information. So we're going to want to make sure that she's on here and has editing privileges. We'll leave it as needs to sign just because that makes it a little bit easier when designating the different fields that the MCA will have to edit. So then we make sure, because our MCA is a specific person, unlike the agent, we'll want to make sure that name and email are added into there. And then finally, we will add agent services. And here, I don't actually need to do any editing as an agent services coordinator, but I do want to get a copy so that I have this paperwork since I need a copy of the sign-on paperwork. So what I'm going to do is click this needs to sign, and I'm just going to select receives a copy. When I do that, it's going to bump me to the top, but I don't want to receive a copy until after everybody else has signed. So what I'm going to do is hit set signing order. And I'm going to change agent to number 1. I'm going to change agent services to number 3. And make sure that MCA is number 2. So it should read agent, MCA, and agent services. So here is what the email signature looks like. Clearly this is very long. You can just take all that extra stuff out. This is really only for when you are sending an email out with this information. The onboarding agent here is not going to probably see this if you use the Powerform link option, which is what I would recommend you do for sending that paperwork out. However, if you did decide to email just the template itself, you could enter an email message and customize that subject line. So now that we've filled all of that out, we're going to hit next. And here is where we are going to enter information. So here we have the name. You want to make sure it's as close to the line as possible so it's not floating too much. And as you can see, This orange color is associated with agent. If I needed Cindy to add something, I would switch to Cindy and would add the text box there. The other thing is if I knew that I needed to fill out certain information before this was sent, you could always make it a read-only field. Additionally, if you have a field that, say, doesn't necessarily need to be filled out, you can make it not required. So let's just put a random text box here. Let's say somebody might need to add a note, but I don't know if she will for sure. I can just uncheck required field and Cindy can choose to edit in this box or not, completely up to her. So as some of you like us probably have various options, here's a good example with the checklist form. This is for internal use, but there are some documents that the agents have where they will check a certain box. You will want to use this radio option here, because what this is going to do is allow agents to pick different options. So if there are 3 options, they can pick just one of the 3, and it gives them a box that they can check. You can also do the checkbox option. It's really up to you how you want to do that. But we will just assume that this has all been filled out here. And when you are ready to go, everything is done. You will just hit save and close. And now you have that template here. So from here, if you ever need to edit anything in the template, all you have to do is go over here to the side, click this down arrow, and hit edit. The nice thing about this is if you ever make updates to your forms, so let's say you want to change the address of this market center. Let's say Gulfside moves offices and we need to change the address. I don't need to redo the field assigning of every single page of this document just by changing this address. I can go into the original document, change this address, and what I can do is scroll down in this template and hit the 3 dots here and just hit replace. Select the new document I want. Let's just hypothetically say it's this document. Hit OK. Hit next. And those fields I entered are in the exact same spot they were before. So if you have a document where you're only changing a small piece of it, you're not rearranging the entire document, it's pretty convenient because those fields will stay where they are and you don't need to redo the field assigning for the entire document. So I did just want to point that out to anybody in case you did not know that that function was available. So finally, we're going to take this template here and we are going to make it a power form. So this is how we're going to get a URL that we can send to an agent directly, have them click on it, and we can walk them through the signing of the document. So as you saw with that template, we put all of our documents together, so it's not separate sites they have to go to, it's not separate links, separate documents, whatever it may be. It's all one thing that they can sign all together. So here you can edit the Powerform name. Let's say the name of my template is not what I want agents to see. I can change this name here. Additionally, with the email as well, we can change that. What we're going to do, this is all correct. We just double check and then we hit create. And it gives me a URL link here. So I'm going to copy that URL link. And as you can see, the status is active. Now, I do want to point out that it's not very clear in Docusign what deactivates a Powerform, but it does not stay on forever. Some things on the site say that after a certain number of people use a link, it'll auto deactivate. You can manually deactivate it. It can be a period of time that deactivates it. So what I did was use a website called Rebrandly, which is essentially a version of Bitly or TinyURL or any of those kind of sites, except unlike those other sites, this site actually allows you to edit one of your custom links. So if the long URL changes, you can edit it and still keep this short URL. You cannot do that with bit.ly or tinyURL. You have to make an entirely new short URL when your long URL changes. So just to kind of explain that again, to close out of this, you can see that this says active right here. Sometimes it will just deactivate by itself. So you would have to go through the process of creating the power form again. And when you do that, that long URL changes. And instead of having to create a new tiny URL each time, if you use a site like Rebrandly specifically, you can edit the long URL option if it ever changes and still keep this option. Bit.ly and tinyURL do not give you that option with their free accounts. So just wanted to kind of point that out for anybody, but here you go. You're already set. I'm going to just show you what it looks like. So that's that long URL that I got. This would be what the agent sees. So they would type their full name, their email address, and then they would begin signing. So let's just do Taylor Test at and then begin signing. So what this is going to do is just take me through like a typical Docusign document if anybody's ever used this themselves. I'm going to hit my agree button, continue, and then it's going to take me through all of these options and tell me where I have to enter and fill in as we go down. So then I would hit finish or finish later, and I'm all good to go. So I see here my Docusign was viewed. So this just tells me that I know that this person has viewed this Docusign, and once he or she submits the documents, then it'll be all good to go, and I will get a confirmation saying that this person has signed the documents.